In a recent interview by Sandy Munro with Lars Moravy, the Tesla's head of vehicle engineering, we got a lot of really great information, and I would highly recommend you take a look at the main video. The link is here on the screen and in the video description. But based on that, we got some great news and information that pertains to Giga Texas, specifically about these four areas. The first is the casting machine area, the second is the die shop facility, and now we know what that is for. The stamping and also Cybertruck painting system areas on the southeast side of the main factory, and also about the crash testing. For today, we'll be concentrating on the die shop facility and some of the new information that we've obtained from Lars during that interview, and the biggest one of which is finally answering the question, what is this facility for?
It's always...
So maintaining, I would have thought, well, it depends on, I don't know enough about this aluminum to really, I mean, we did an analysis on it, but...
then we have our own in-house die shop. So if that area is getting weak, we'll just replace it with a different insert.
A new
and then the platen is really what lasts you know, hundreds of thousands of shots.
Right.
And we may be maintaining the inserts every couple months, every 6 months, but we are making a lot of dies, which is why we made our own die shop.
So as you could hear from Lars, they built this die shop specifically on site to give them an in-house capability to make, modify, and design, and also test the dies that are used for the casting machine. And he didn't specifically say, but it's possible they will do the same for the stamping machines as well. Although I think that they have the machine shops down in the stamping 1 and 2 sections for that. But nevertheless, we now know definitively what this facility is for, and it explains some of the structures that we saw during the construction. If we go back to this image from the 6th of February 2023, during the construction of the die shop, many of the features of the building now make a lot more sense. We can see on the west side those double columns holding up bridge crane rails, and then later on we saw some heavy-duty bridge cranes installed. We know that that's going to be used to move the dies around during modification, maintenance, and also design and testing. On the ground on the left-hand side, we can see these two areas in the dotted lines. These had continuous flight auger piers installed, which are very strong, in addition to geo-piers. The one on the left is actually deeper foundation as well, and I wasn't really sure what those were for. Later on in November, we see in that blue highlighted area, more of the ground slab has been sectioned and removed, probably to add additional capability to the die shop. In this image on the 24th of February, just about 3 weeks later, we can see the development of that deep, heavily reinforced foundation on the left and the other foundation that has the CFA piles on the right. And these are slightly different in construction, but they both will be holding some pretty heavy machinery. And finally, from this image on the 11th of December 2023, we see that furnace with the covering, and I was never really sure what this was for. Now, this was installed on the north end of the building, very close to that deep foundation that we discussed. And now that we know that this die shop is going to be used to modify, do maintenance, design, and testing of the dies for the casting machines, this makes a lot more sense and why they need this particular capability at this shop. Now, some people may ask, what about the stamping machine dies? I believe that the in-house capability to do the modification and maintenance of those dies is already built in the stamping 1 and 2 facilities on the southeast side, so those are not needed for this particular facility. So there you have it, a good review of information we got during the Sandy Munro interview with Lars about the die shop. What is it for? How does it operate? And also helps put to bed a lot of questions I personally had and my viewers have had about what this facility is for. I hope that you found this review and information helpful and put into context what we've been seeing around this site.